You're working, maybe 40 hours a week, maybe more, and at the end of the month, there's still nothing left. Not because you're lazy, not because you don't try, but because nobody ever sat you down and actually showed you how this works. Today that changes, because this video is not about the problem. You already know the problem. You feel it every time you check your account. This is about the way out, step by step, simple enough to start today. And I mean today, not next month, not when you get a raise, today. Let's start with one number. The average American household carries around $104,000 in total debt. Credit cards, car loans, student loans, medical bills. That number comes from the Federal Reserve, and it's been climbing every single year. So if you're sitting there thinking, I'm the only one who can't figure this out, you're not. Most people are exactly where you are. They just don't talk about it. Now here's what I want you to understand before we go any further. Getting out of debt is not about being perfect. It's not about cutting every coffee. It's not about some extreme sacrifice. It's about building a system, a simple one, that works even when motivation disappears. Because motivation always disappears. Systems don't. So let's build yours, right now, starting with the first move. Step 1. Know exactly where you stand. I know. Nobody wants to do this part, because looking at the real numbers is uncomfortable. But here's the thing. The number in your head is always worse than the number on paper. Always. Because fear makes everything bigger. So here's what you do. You write down 3 things. Your total monthly income after taxes, your fixed monthly expenses, rent, utilities, insurance, minimum debt payments, and whatever is left over. That's it. 3 numbers. Not a spreadsheet. Not an app. Just 3 numbers on a piece of paper. And once you see it clearly, the panic starts to drop, because now you're dealing with reality, not with fear. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American spends around $500 a month on things they don't actually track. $500. That's not saying you waste $500. That's saying $500 moves through your hands every month, and you have no idea where it goes. And that's not your fault. Nobody taught you to track it, but once you start seeing it, you start controlling it. Step 2. Stop the bleeding. This is the most important step, and the most misunderstood. Most people think getting out of debt means paying it down faster. That's wrong. The first move is not to pay faster. The first move is to stop adding more. Think about it this way. If your kitchen sink is overflowing, you don't grab a mop first. You turn off the water. But most people are out there mopping while the tap is still running. No new debt. Not this month. Not until you have a plan. That means the credit card stays in the drawer. That means BNPL, buy now, pay later, is off the table. Because BNPL is not a payment plan. It's debt with a friendlier name. According to NerdWallet, nearly 40% of BNPL users have missed at least one payment. 40%. And when you miss a payment, the fees kick in, the interest kicks in, and suddenly that $200 purchase costs $350. So step 2 is simple. Freeze the hole. Stop it from getting bigger. Because you cannot climb out of a hole while someone keeps digging it deeper. Step 3. This is where people split into 2 groups, and both groups can win. It just depends on how your brain works. Option 1 is called the debt snowball. You take your smallest debt, not the highest interest, the smallest balance, and you throw every extra dollar at that one. You pay minimum on everything else. All your energy goes to that one small target. And when it's gone, that payment you were making now goes to the next one, and then the next. The snowball gets bigger every time. Why does this work? Because your brain needs a win early. Debt is heavy. It feels like it never moves. And if you never feel progress, you quit. The snowball gives you progress you can actually see. That first debt gone changes how you feel about all of it. Option 2 is called the debt avalanche. You ignore the balance size. You target the highest interest rate first. Mathematically, this saves you more money because you're cutting off the most expensive debt first. But here's the honest truth. If your highest interest debt is also your biggest balance, it could take a year before you feel anything. And most people don't last that long without a win. So, here's how to choose. If you need motivation to keep going, start with the snowball. If you're disciplined and you want to save the most money long-term, go with the avalanche. Both work. The one you stick to wins. Because the best strategy in the world means nothing if you quit in month 3. Now, let's talk about something most people ignore completely, and it might be the most important thing in this entire video. The buffer. Not an emergency fund, not a 3-month reserve, just a buffer. $500, maybe even $200, something. Because here's what happens without it. Your car needs a repair. Unexpected medical bill shows up. Your phone breaks. And what do? You put it on the credit card. And just like that, you've undone 2 months of progress. The buffer exists for one reason only, to break that cycle, so that when life hits you, and it will, you have something to absorb the blow without adding new debt. This is not glamorous advice. It's not exciting, but the Federal Reserve found that nearly 40% of Americans cannot cover an unexpected $400 expense without borrowing. $400. That is how thin the margin is for most families. And that thin margin is why people stay stuck. One bad month erases everything. So before you aggressively attack your debt, build the buffer, even if it takes 60 days. $200 in a separate account, not touching it, not for groceries, not for a sale, only for genuine emergencies. That small cushion changes everything, because now, one unexpected expense doesn't send you back to square one. Step 4. Find more to work with. And before you think I already work as much as I can, hear me out. This is not about getting a second job forever. This is about one thing: buying yourself time. People who successfully get out of debt almost always increase their income during the process, not by doubling their salary overnight, just by adding something small on the side for a season. Maybe it's one extra shift a month. Maybe it's selling things you don't use. Maybe it's one freelance gig. Maybe it's negotiating your current salary. That extra money does not go to lifestyle. It goes directly to the debt. 100% of it. Because here's the math problem nobody tells you. If your expenses are already at the edge of your income, cutting spending alone will not get you out. You can't cut your way out of a cash flow problem. At some point, you need more coming in, even temporarily, even a little. And speaking of small things, I want to be clear about something. Small financial decisions stack. They stack in the wrong direction when you're not paying attention, and they stack in the right direction when you are. Putting an extra $50 on your debt this month feels pointless. It's not. Over 12 months, that's $600. That might eliminate an entire credit card, which frees up a minimum payment. which you redirect to the next one. You see how the chain works. Small decisions lead to real results. Not overnight, but they lead there. This is not motivation. This is math. And math doesn't care how you feel. It just works. Step 5. Protect what you build. This is the step people skip. Because they're so focused on getting out of debt, they forget to protect the progress they're making. Two things matter here. First, your credit score. Even while paying down debt, pay every minimum on time. Every single one. Because your payment history is 35% of your credit score, miss a payment, and you're not just paying late. You're making future borrowing more expensive, which makes everything harder. Second, your savings habit. Even if it's $10 a month, the habit matters more than the amount. Because one day, the debt will be gone, and if you've never built the habit of saving, you'll fill that space with spending, and you'll be back where you started. The people who stay out of debt are not the ones who paid it off fastest. They're the ones who changed the habit. That's the real game, not the debt, the habit. So let me pull all of this together, because I want you to leave here with something clear. Step 1, write down 3 numbers. Income, expenses, what's left. See reality, not fear. Step 2, stop adding debt. Turn off the tap before you start mopping. Step 3, pick one strategy and commit. Snowball or Avalanche. Either works. Quitting doesn't. Step 4, build a small buffer first. $200 between you and disaster. Step 5, find one way to bring in more, even temporarily. Step 6, protect the habit. Pay minimums on time. Save something, even small. That's the whole system. Not complicated, not expensive, not requiring a financial advisor. Just a sequence that you follow, one step at a time. And I want to say one more thing, because I think it matters. You're not behind because you made bad decisions. You're behind because the system is designed for people who already have a cushion. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, every unexpected cost is a crisis. Every missed payment has consequences. The margin for error is almost zero. And nobody teaches you how to navigate that. But that doesn't mean there's no way through. There is. It's just slower than the internet makes it look, and more boring than anyone wants to admit. Small moves, consistent ones, month after month. That's what actually works. Not the hack, not the trick, not the shortcut. The system, your system, starting today. Now, if this gave you something real, something you can actually use, then there's one more thing I want you to see. Because debt is one part of the picture. But there's another question millions of Americans are asking right now.